we're probably representing the feelings of thousands of businesses across the city of New York, the state of New York, and probably in some respects the country. These businesses are small businesses. They are your local neighborhood stores selling everything from accessories to clothing to sporting goods to electronics. They could be anything and everything in between. And these businesses locked down their businesses as they were to flatten the curve and to try to help to curb any damage and mitigate any death and illness for our fellow New Yorkers and our fellow Americans a long time ago. But that was 2.5 months ago. The curve has definitely been flattened, and now it's time for us to reopen our businesses. Nobody here is against following the protocols that the essential businesses have been following for a long period of time, but it's time for these businesses to reopen. The rents come, the mortgages have to be paid, the food has to be purchased, every family has their own special needs, and they need to be able to go back to work as soon as they can to salvage what they invested. Some people have loans for their businesses. They borrow to buy their businesses, to renovate their business, to buy products sitting in their empty stores where there's no people and the doors are shuttered, and they have to go back to work. Today, we chose this spot here, overlooking the Statue of Liberty right behind me. Emma Lazarus's famous poem, which sits at the foot of the statue, says very, very clearly, "With silent lips, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these homeless tempests to me. I lift the lamp beside the golden door." Everybody here, everybody in New York comes from somewhere else. If it wasn't them, it was their parents, their grandparents, their great-grandparents, going back centuries. People came to New York to work, to make a living, to support their families. We have done the best we could over time to support our families, to support our cities, to pay our taxes, to employ, to build, and to make this city what it is, the greatest city in the world, and the greatest state in the world. But now the time has come for our public officials and our elected leaders to open up our businesses, to allow us to make our livings, to allow us to pay our bills. We must go back to work. We must open our businesses. We're not adverse to all of the policies and all of the safety mitigation rules which are being done by all the essential businesses in New York, especially the big box stores, which have hundreds of people in their stores, sometimes at the same time. I'm standing here on the stage with small businesses. Those businesses will never have more than 1 or 2 people in their stores before this pandemic. But they need to reopen their businesses. How much longer should they sacrifice? Is it not enough time? Have we no shame as a society to let these people go back to work so that their hard-earned profits and their hard-earned efforts shouldn't be going down to big box stores and stores that were given, I'm sorry to say, preferential treatment in this pandemic? Target and Walmart always sold clothes. They sold jewelry, they sold watches, they sold electronics, they sold accessories. These people sell them too. They're not allowed, they are. The double standard and the arbitrary nature of this policy must come to an end. Nobody wants anybody to die. Nobody wants anyone to get sick. We want this virus to go away. We want everyone to be healthy. That's all we want for ourselves, our fellow citizens, and our neighbors and our families. But something's got to give. We're calling on our fellow New Yorkers to stand up and join us in this campaign, in this fight, to reopen our business safely and now. Thank you very much. I'm going to be calling a series of speakers today to share their thoughts and their experiences from their businesses. The first one I'm calling is Simcha Minkowitz. Her and her family own a store called Amor Fine Jewelry in Brooklyn, and she's an executive committee member of the Reopen New York. Simcha, can you please join us?
Thank you. My name is Simcha Minkowitz. I stand in front of you today as a woman, a mother, an entrepreneur, and a proud New Yorker. My husband and I are owners of Amor Fine Jewelry. I could stand here today and tell you about the tremendous loans we took to open our dream store. I could stand here today and tell you how just 20 months ago we opened our doors. I could stand here and how deeply this lockdown is hurting us. I could tell you how we lost over a quarter of our annual income. But today is not about me. It is about every small business owner in the state of New York that is hurting right now. It is about every man, woman, mother, and father It is about the lockdown versus liberty. It is about how the shutdown is dragging on and on, literally bringing the small businesses of New York to our knees. When this accursed pandemic hit us, we, the small businesses of New York, heroically did what had to be done. We shut our doors and we did it with love. You know why? Because Americans are inherently good. We care for one another. We are, after all, the United States of America. Small businesses are, and always have been, the backbone of our country. We don't have investors to lean on. We don't have board members or committees. You know what we have? We have heart and we have grit. We take risks and we brave the unknown. You know what we are not? We are not blind. It's the headlines that read, Walmart's earnings soar, or Home Depot's sales surge 7.3% during this pandemic.
Good afternoon. The last thing you need to hear at this point is from a lawyer. You've really heard everything you need to hear. This phenomenal collection of stories, real New Yorkers of every walk of life, every profession, every enthusiasm, is the entire story you need to hear. It's a story that for some reason the leadership of the state and city do not seem to be interested in. Someone asked me when I first came up to the platform here, what are the constitutional rights that you were recommending that we rely on here? There's a time for constitutional rights. There's a time for rights under the New York State Constitution, New York statutory law, common law of the city of New York. But we're nowhere near that. We're talking now about basic, fundamental human right. The right under natural law. Everyone is entitled to make a living. Everyone is entitled to make a living. Everyone is entitled to leave his home. In times of emergency, we rely on the government in a system of order of liberty to keep us safe from danger. That reliance is not limitless. That responsibility is profound. This what we heard today was astonishing. It's a revolutionary moment. I'm very proud to be associated with this group, and I hope that they never have to call me again.
Early light was so proudly we hailed, and the clock, come on you guys, last leaning, whose broad stripes and bright stars for the perilous fight, for the ramparts we were so gallantly gleaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, they proved through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner again wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Let's go get 'em, New York!
That's the end of the press conference. If anybody has any questions, you're more than welcome to go to any of the business owners in person. If you have any questions from the podium, now I'm open to taking them.